In the latest story quest about Ruan Mei, we have gotten a brief look into the minds of the Genius Society members. Ruan Mei has stirred up a lot of questions regarding her motivations and research. So today I would like to dive into her backstory and quest to explain what exactly is going on with her. One very important fact about Ruan Mei is that she doesn't experience emotions the same way most humans do. Even as a child, she was impassive, and she figured out in her own way that there were different kinds of love. For example, her grandmother loved traditional theater, her father loved his furry boots, and her parents loved each other. But out of all her family members, Ruan Mei was closest to her Aunt Arlise, because she would buy her snacks, so obviously her love was the best. As she grew older, her mother became stricter with her, and together they went on scientific expeditions to observe the different life forms buried beneath the glaciers. During those expeditions, she came to completely understand the process of life, and that birth, growth and death were simply the surface of our understanding of life. Every time they returned from the expeditions, she would receive sweets as rewards, which is how she started connecting emotions with flavors and smell. But for Ruan Mei, it's clear that every emotion was controlled by the brain, which made them insignificant. Because of her dissatisfaction with her understanding of life and emotions, she began to search for something pure, something closer to the true essence of life. Later, when her parents died, she completely immersed herself in biology research and surpassed all knowledge about life that was known so far. She ignored the known formulas and ignored the meaning of life. She simply made her own observations and created new laws for the life she created to follow. As a result, the plants she worked with had unimaginable growth and could grow at a pace that was visible to human eyes. As she continued her parents' legacy, she would eventually almost destroy the existing laws of natural evolution on an entire planet, but still, her research had to continue. It was at this point that she noticed the Aeon of Erudition, Nous, had cast their gaze on her, inviting her to the Genius Society. After she joined, she realized that her research couldn't continue on like this, so she started to dive into more fundamental research. And to reach answers as quickly as possible, she joined the Simulated Universe project to gain more information from interactions with Aeons and researched more about life in the space station's seclusion zone. While researching, she came to the conclusion that even though the exterior of living beings is often complicated and varied, their essence is simple and plain. Ruan Mei figured that everything from small creatures to entire ecosystems had the same origin point, the true essence of life. And to find that true essence, she had to start by creating a life form closer to that point than anything she had cultivated up until then. And there was only one life form she hadn't cultivated yet and held many secrets about life: an emanator. Emanators are closer to Aeons than any other life form. So if she could figure out when and how a creature becomes an emanator, she could then pinpoint the differences between life forms, thereby finding the essence of life. This is why she started creating little geniuses. Since a genius could become an emanator of erudition given enough time. However, the creatures she made were not really geniuses, they were just more emotional and ambitious, so Ruan Mei declared them failed experiments. But she did realize that the path of erudition isn't the only path she could take to create an emanator. Since the erudition is a complicated path, maybe an emanator of a more primitive and pure path could be created. The only thing she needed to successfully cultivate a primitive emanator is data. And since she had plenty of data from the Simulated Universe swarm disaster, she could cultivate an emanator of Daisyromther propagation. And so she started the cultivation of Star Crusher Swarm King Scaragabaz. Sadly, after Scaragabaz was complete, Ruan Mei realized that compared to the real emanator of propagation, her clone didn't hold a candle to their power. So in the end, she was able to create an emanator, but wasn't able to find the true essence of what made them special, which is why this experiment was also a failure. So why didn't Ruan Mei just tell us the truth instead of sending us on a wild goose chase through the space station? Well, the answer is simply because she is really bad at communication. It isn't that she has evil intentions or wants to recreate the swarm disaster. She just wants all of her mistakes and problems to quietly disappear instead of facing them head on. Which is why she only informed the Trailblazer about her problems and even forces us to forget what happened. She doesn't even take responsibility for the little geniuses she left behind and leaves them in our care. And finally, the reason for her wanting to become an Aeon is also just so she can understand the essence of life on the deepest possible level. So in conclusion, Ruan Mei is not evil, but just like all humans, she too has her flaws. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one. Bye.